Akil Dinkins, 24 years old. Gregory Gunn, 58 years old. Samuel Du Bois, 43 years old. Brendan Glenn, 29 years old. Freddie Gray, 25 years old. Natasha McKenna, 37 years old. Walter Scott, 50 years old. You're starting to see a pattern. You're never too young, you're never too old to die as a black person in the United States of America by the hands of the police. Christian Taylor, 19 years old. Michael Brown, 18 years old. Ezell Ford, 25 years old. Eric Garner. Some of us are standing here, we've been chanting over the last 10 days, I can't breathe. He was one of the first ones we heard about that died saying, I can't breathe. For selling cigarettes on the streets of New York, was put in an illegal chokehold by the police and choked to death. 43 years old. Akai Gurley, 28 years old. Laquan McDonald, 17 years old. Tamir Rice. Does anybody know how old Tamir Rice was? 13. He's 12 years old. Somebody called the police on Tamir Rice. He was in a park playing with a toy gun. By a show of hands, who has played with a toy gun before? Did we deserve to be shot by the police? Well, they shot Tamir Rice with less than 6 seconds of the police showing up. The police car shows up and somebody recorded it. The police officer didn't know he was being recorded. He shows up and the witnesses say that he opened fire on a 12-year-old boy playing with a toy gun in a park. Yvette Smith, 47 years old. She was fatally shot on the front porch of her home, February 16, 2014. Jamar Clark, 24 years old. He was also killed by police in Minneapolis, along with George Floyd. Rakia Boyd, 22 years old. Sharice Francis, 29. You probably haven't heard about her, but you can imagine what I'm gonna tell you, how she died. She died of suffocation from the police officers as they were trying to handcuff her. How do you die of suffocation? Because of the police handcuffing you. This excessive force thing is beyond excessive force. Police reform now. Can you hold that up? Show everybody. Thank you. Cherie Francis. Francis was a mentally ill woman who had gone off of her medication, died during a struggle with police who had been called to her home in Queens, New York on March 15, 2012. Francis was unarmed, died of suffocation as officers tried to handcuff her. Ramarley Graham, 18 years old. Manuel Loggins Jr., 31 years old. Sean Bell, 23 years old. Ronald Madison, 40 years old. Kendra James, 21 years old. Amadou Diallo, 22 years old. Latanya Haggerty, 26 years old. And I'll end right here with Margaret Laverne Mitchell. She was 54 years old. Mitchell, who suffered from mental illness, was shot to death on May 21st, 1999 in Los Angeles, California. The homeless woman was reportedly lunged at an officer with a screwdriver after two police officers stopped while she pushed a shopping cart on La Brea Avenue. Some witnesses disputed the statements that Mitchell lunged at one of the officers. We watched on television, and I don't know if all of you've seen it, when a police officer shot a black man for having a broken taillight and shot him on camera. He didn't know he was being recorded. And then the police officer casually just walks over and drops the stun gun by the dead body, not knowing he's recorded, thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna get away with this one. Did you all see that video? Maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago. And America was shocked. Oh my God, there are some bad cops out there. Wow, really? I didn't know this was a thing. It's a thing. So one of my other brothers, who's the police officer who did not post about this, he came to Utah about 5 years ago and he visited. So we talked and he said to me, hey Mario, now that I'm not a police officer, I see things differently. Oh, because he was a part of the Brotherhood. He was embedded in police culture. And we were kind of a little embarrassed of him. And he might see this video, but I don't care, he knows. But we just couldn't believe his responses. He's black like me, he's darker than me. You know better, you should know better. But he was out racial profiling. And he said, the police department taught me that. The police department taught us in police academy how to racial profile people. He's a black man. Now imagine what that does to somebody who grew up with a racist family already. You're like, oh yeah, they just reinforcing what I was already taught. But he was black and he was convinced that the police department was right about going out and racial profiling other black people. He said they told him to look for black people. He said they told him to go look for poor people. And if they were poor and black, you definitely was gonna find something wrong with them and be able to bring them in and put them in jail. This is what he told me. This was a conversation that I had. And the only reason I think he really got to that point, because as a retired police officer, he told me, now I experience police harassment. He was walking down the street with his wife. His wife is Caucasian, but they were walking down the street one day, but all his children are brown. They're black, okay? They're black. But the police pulled up to them walking and started harassing my brother. But now he's a retired cop. So he was like, wow, I never seen it until then. Well, I'm glad you're opening your eyes now. So the point of that is, police culture needs to be dismantled and destroyed. Police culture needs to be dismantled and destroyed. Tear the whole thing down and build it back again. Through the voice of the people. I don't think I really have anything else to say today. Just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for standing up. If you've been standing up for 60 years for the people, if you've been standing up 85 years for the people, if you just started standing up yesterday, thank you. This doesn't need to be a single race issue. Black lives matter. But you know what that means? That's a call to police brutality so we can focus on what's happening around us. That was a spark we sent out to the world to say, wake up and pay attention. Our lives matter too. But this doesn't need to be a single race issue or agenda. This needs to be an agenda operated by the people that give a shit. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm gonna give the microphone back to Thank you, Jessica.
Our next speaker is Donna Franco.